Welcome to Oulton Park for round 1 of the 2018 Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship. It's the Neil Howard Memorial Stages. Returning favourites, defending champions and new faces to watch in action. Let's take a look at a selection of the entries in Class A then, always a closely contested class this. Expect maximum revs, lots of arriving backwards into hairpins, think Dave Metcalf. Some big name cars and drivers in Class B. You don't see many classic minis out rallying anymore, and Andrew McAlpine's Cooper S makes even the Micras look big. Watch out for former British touring car race winner Paul O'Neill in one of Paul Sheard's Mazda MX-5s for another crack at the series opener this year. There'll be some big fights to watch for in Class C, I can feel it already. Joshua and Tamsin Davey looked quick last season. Ashley Field proving the Darien was a championship contender in Season 1, of course. Class D1 headed on the road by our reigning champion Chris West. A new Smith & Jones engine in that 306 Maxi should make it even more the crowd pleaser this year. Nice to have last year's champ back in the seat as well to defend the title. And Class D2 will lead from the front. Some big entries as always in this class for the opening round. Kev Proctor will be looking for win number 3. Steve Simpson and Patrick Walsh will be throwing that Fiesta around like a Mark II Escort as always. Here's this year's layout for stages 1 and 2. The varied stages at Oulton Park, really a highlight of the series. A great way to open the championship. The crews have a unique mix of gravel, tarmac and water splashes to contend with. Rather like the spectacle of the stately home rally stages of old. Remember those? Kevin Proctor gets us underway, going for his 3rd straight Neil Howard Stages victory, but he almost gets it wrong on the first stage. He and Derek Fawcett quickly up to pace. Steve Simpson and Patrick Walsh also have a strong stage. They'll finish equal on time with the Skoda Fabia R5 of James and Rhys Yates. Event sponsor Graham Coffee is being navigated by MSA chairman Dave Richards, who hasn't competed in a rally for over a decade. Let's go on board with the pair as they head onto the rally stage, both concentrating hard in these early moments. James Yates is clearly on it, pushing hard alongside brother Rhys as they finish the stage equal fastest. Interesting to see the Yates brothers swapped round. James doesn't take long to get up to speed, does he? Also pushing hard from the off, as expected, is Chris West in his Peugeot 306 Maxi. He's upgraded it over the winter, as we mentioned, with a new engine. Co-driver Robbie Hanna only drafted in for this event a few days ago, but that wasn't slowing the pair down. This year's British Rally Championship runner-up Alex Laffey, here with M Sport, is pushing hard with Michael Gilby alongside of he almost clips the barriers entering the rally stage. Will Owen in his Class D1 Ford Escort made an immediate impact, but despite this moment he and co-driver Leon were off to a good start. The fantastic marshals here at Oulton Park quickly on hand to clean up that mess. Mike Taylor and Martin Haggett started well in their Talbot Lotus Sunbeam, being pushed along here by James Yates and Graham Coffey as well as they complete their runs. We don't see many Darien T90s in rallying these days, but the Circuit Championship seems to bring out the best of them. Here, this T90 in the hands of Brandon Smith and Chloe Louise Thomas blasted off the line. Sadly, it will be a short day for the pair. They retired early on with engine problems. The Ford Fiesta S2000 of Mark Roberts and Stephen Landon, swapping from their Escort WRC, was one of several pairings to misjudge the tight turn onto the rally stage here at Oulton Park. A really slippery surface this, but they still finished fastest in Class C. Running together here on the road were the Porsche Cayman of Martin Fox and Lauren Hewitt, and the Ford Escort of Chris Berry and Nigel Stevenson, highlighting the unique nature of this championship. Cars from different classes and eras having to carefully pick their way around each other out here on the stages. And also highlighting the great diversity in the series. Entrants were in cars as varied as the Toyota Yaris of Craig Aston and Nick Baker, which would end the day 7th in Class A. Attrition is always part of the story here at the opening round, a mix of gravel, tarmac and all those other parts that make this rally so great, not being great for everyone. It didn't quite go to plan for some of the competitors who were pushing hard to open this new season, but as the first stage came to a close, the order was starting to take shape. Now let's hear from Sam with some of our competitors after the first stage.
So guys, a little bit of a mixed start. I don't understand that it started very well, but then the first stage was really, really good, and now not good news.
No, the first stage went really well actually, so we were sitting third in class, which we were really happy with, so we were happy with that time. Brought the car back into the garage, all seemed fine, then went to start it to go out and refuel, and the car just wouldn't go into gear.
So stage 1 is done. We are now heading into stage 2. As you can see, the guys are just behind us now. So Steve Simpson is currently leading with James and Reese Yates bang on the same time as them. So let's see how stage 2 is going to pan out. Over to you, Paul.
Thanks, Sam. Once again, then Proctor and Fawcett get the stage underway, this time pushing hard and overcoming that Yates Skoda to finish just behind Simpson and Walsh. And Steve Simpson was on the pace in his Ford Fiesta, almost losing control at high speed through Knickerbrook, but expertly holding onto the car. What did we say about him driving it like a Mark II Escort? On board once again with Coffey, with Richards alongside, recovering from a slow first stage to pull back closer to our leading cars. And it's a fast start for the Yates Skoda. James having a slight error on the stage and dropping the pair down to third overall. Laffey and Gilby will finish stage 2 in 4th place, just 3 seconds behind that Skoda up ahead. And Andy Scott and Carl Williamson in another Ford Fiesta R5 will also run well, finishing stage 2 6th in the D2 class. John Stone and Jack Morton, regular stars in this series, indeed championship contenders last time out, here in a new Ford Fiesta World Rally car. Pete Smith and Sean Cunniff are up next, a little further behind after losing a bit of time on stage 1, but they were still pushing on. Another Ford Fiesta World Rally car out competing here at Oulton Park. James Self and Nick Viggers pushed hard in their Ford Fiesta R5, finishing in 7th place at the end of the rally, while the eye-catching Subaru Impreza of John Griffiths and Nigel Wettig hard-charging, as always, with 1 position back. It was a clean and tidy day for another Subaru Impreza, this one belonging to Jade Pavley and Rich Jones. Great to see Jade back on the stages, meaning the pairing would finish 12th in D2. Ending the day 10th in D2 was a Proton Satria S2000 with that Millington engine in the hands of Anthony Robinson and Phil Clark. And yet another Impreza, they're popular here in this championship, this one belonging to Oulton Park race instructor and rally instructor Alex Allingham, with Terry Pankhurst alongside. No pressure, guys, providing great sideways action for the crowds watching the rally throughout the day here at Oulton, and they even went off-road where they could. The pair would finish the day 9th in D2. Tony and Franco Carinanti were in action in their Subaru Impreza STI as well, 2 places back in 11th place in D2. The Ford Focus Cosworth of Michael Walton and Jamie Vaughan ran well throughout the day. They'd finished 14th of our D2 runners. Lee and Louise Allen's Mitsubishi Evo 3 broke up the Subarus. They ended the day in 13th place. And David Heap and Tony Collins round off our D2 competitors. They brought their Impreza home 15th. Topping the times in Class D1 after just 2 stages were Chris West and Robbie Hanna. In Class B, it was the Vauxhall Tigra of Chris Platt and Mad Mick Robinson, who had a 6-second advantage at this stage. Joe Cunningham and Mark Fowler topping the times handsomely in Class A, hustling that Vauxhall Corsa around the Oulton Park stages. Leaders in Class C at this point were Mark Roberts and Stephen Landon, suffering no great loss of time after that earlier error. Joe Cunningham leads the way in Class A then after the first 2 stages, 30 seconds ahead of the nearest challenger, David McMullen. Charlie Barlow chasing hard, only 6 seconds back in third, the top 3 pulling away from the rest of the field. There's a close battle shaping up in Class B, 39 seconds separating the top 8. But it's Vauxhalls 1, 2 and 3. Chris Platt leading the way at this stage in the Tigre. Mark Roberts leads after 2 stages in Class C, the 4-wheel drive of the S2000 giving a slight advantage perhaps on the slippery early stages of the day. But the closest competition coming further down the leaderboard, Kathy Stewart and Gary Mason chasing Chris McCallum's Escort. Class D1 sees Chris West's title defence get off to the best possible start then, leading the way by over 20 seconds over Will Owen after 2 stages. Again, getting closer the further you go down that leaderboard. Steve Simpson so far keeping hat-trick hopeful Kevin Proctor at bay up front in D2. 2 seconds the difference after as many stages. Alex Laffey getting to grips with these stages pretty quickly. Totally different, of course, from what he's been used to in the BRC. Let's join Sam in the paddock to hear how our competitors are getting on.
Chris, a championship winner last year, you're back out today. This will, in effect, be a completely new car to you, because although it looks the same, it's not, is it?
No, definitely not. It's now a 2.5 Smith & Jones. It's a big power increase to what I had. But to get it in there, because I don't think it's been done yet in a front-wheel drive car, we've had to fabricate a lot of stuff and change a lot of stuff. The engine also a bit lighter than my old engine, so it's changed the car a lot. So I've done 17 miles on it, on the road, literally yesterday. And now we're here trying, so I was expecting a few teething problems, but so far it's all good. But I've just got to get back used to it, and really I was using this rally as a shakedown and then to be on the pace for Cadwell.
So guys, you've had a really, really good start this morning. I mean, you always do in this car, you are always right up there, but you've not been in it since Ingliston last March, wasn't it? So it's been a bit of a gap, but yeah. Definitely going well.
Yeah, we had to get straight back into it this morning, and I think obviously the navigator's fault, he's made us go so well, but no, yeah, straight back in it, and I'm enjoying it.
Good. And you, I mean, I know that you enjoy this seat, but how are you finding it this morning?
Really well, really well. That stage was really good, nice and smooth. We actually didn't have it all sideways, which is what we normally expect from Joe. So, so we were a bit quicker, 13 seconds quicker. So happy with that.
Wow. How's your run gone so far this morning? We're 2 stages in. How's it going?
Steady the first run, a bit better the second run. So we're getting ourselves used to the circuit. So hopefully we'll go a bit quicker. But you know, it's a bit hard with these fast boys at front. I get tired.
It's quite an entry, isn't it, this today?
Yeah, no, it's good entry. I mean, if you look at the top 10, it's pretty fast. So yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, good.
Good. It's good to see you out. You're doing a few more rounds of the championship this year as well.
Yeah, we're doing Cadwell, and then we'll see about Knockhill, and then we'll see how we get on.
Do you reckon you can shout at him? Are you brave enough?
I can shout at him now. He's given me permission now to give him a shout at him. He says, don't be scared. Yeah, so no. But a shots system on the first stage, first modern World Caribbean, and it sort of throws you back in the seat. But no, that second stage felt really good. It was a decent time as well.
Next up then are stages 3 and 4, the first of the day to feature the Darcy Dip Water Splash, always a fan favourite. Now you've heard about the ducks, right? The Water Splash, of course, always popular because the spectators can get really close, but also a favourite of the marshals here at Oulton Park. In this part of the programme, we'll be focusing on the D1 runners for this stage, which are headed by Chris West. Once again, they're not hanging around, showing what pace they needed to win the championship last time out, finishing first in class and 7th overall as they navigate the water splash. Hot on their heels, but indeed shown a clean pair of heels are Will and Cleon Owen, not slowed down by contact with the chicane in stage 1 in that Ford Escort. Unfortunately, they would eventually retire after 7 stages. Another Escort, this time in the hands of Stephen and Jack Tilburn, is in 3rd place at this stage. The duo will end the day in an impressive 2nd in class. In 4th place, 15th overall, en route to a best ever finish of 3rd in class and 12th at Oulton Park, and Mike Taylor and Martin Haggett in a Talbot Lotus Sunbeam. Let's go on board as they head into the now famous Darcy Dip Water Splash. just hanging on to the sunbeam and skillfully back onto track for Taylor there. He's chased in 5th place by Ciro Carinanti and Simon Coates in that Porsche Cayman. One of several Caymans in the event, actually. These cars becoming pretty popular in circuit rallying. The duo will end the day 5th in Class D1. Getting plenty of sideways in his Ford Escort is Tom Blackwood, driving with Gordon winning alongside. The Scottish duo just 11 seconds behind Carinanti and Coates and pressing on to close the gap, which they will eventually overcome to finish 4th in the class. That iconic and ever distinctive Rothmans livery of Nick Whale and Paul Spooner in that equally iconic BMW M3 is 7th in D1, needing to keep pushing though to hang onto that spot. And that is because this man, Mike Bayliss, with Sam Bailey alongside, is just 12 seconds back in another BMW, getting sideways and getting some big air on the rally stage as well as they race to an eventual 7th place in class. Wesley Simpson and Joe Ford were hot on the pack as well, running in 10th place during stage 3, but sadly retiring just after passing our cameras. And after a maximum time in stage 2, Colin Gemmell and Derek Kerr would fight back to finish the day 9th in D1. 8th in D1 would go to the charging Nigel Worswick and Dylan Thomas, again in a Ford Escort. First overall and in Class D2 would go to this man, Kevin Proctor. As always, Derek Fawcett by his side, despite having to navigate traffic, here battling with Stephen and Jack Tilburn and Alex Laffey and Michael Gilby. Joe Cunningham and Mark Fowler, meanwhile, remained the pairing to beat in Class A, opening up a big advantage after 3 stages. Similarly in Class C, it was still Mark Roberts and Stephen Landon heading the times, though there was a close battle shaping up for 2nd place. And rounding off the class leaders were Ryan Burns and Steve Hallmark. Let's hear from Sam and some of our competitors out there.
Loving it, truly epic. So are you enjoying it out there then?
Yeah, we're just having a bit of laugh, a bit of fun.
We're gravel tyres, so we're going sideways everywhere.
We've got gravel tyres on, obviously. The car's pretty much as it finished Grisdale in 2014. So we've come out for a play on our local event and thoroughly enjoying it.
That was the best stage. I've enjoyed that one. So yeah, really good. We're getting on it now. So we're best on the loose. That's our bit. But I'm getting in the hang of it. So,
Had a clear run that time, it's good.
Yeah, we had a bit of traffic the first 2, so it's certainly helping us now. So
now this is very nice. It's not a car that you see out doing stage rallying an awful lot, is it?
It's not. No, it's. I like to have something different. I always build different cars, and this is my choice this year.
Wow.
So I've only done 39 miles in the car before the first stage today.
Wow. Okay.
Only finished building it yesterday morning.
That is cutting it fairly close. But how is it handling out there?
It's just a learning curve. It's handling very, very well, but I've just got to get used to driving it. It's so different than the BMW to drive.
Yeah. So you've had your cup of coffee, and how's that gone down?
Yeah, really well. Yeah, really well. Yeah, car's coming on now, so we've got the brakes sorted out. I mean, Alcon brakes are fantastic anyway, but it's just an installation that we needed to bleed it up, change of fluid. So I got a brake pedal back. We gained some positions in the last stage, came up 4 overall, 2 in class. And so yeah, with that now we should be. Well, I think that one then was a very good one. First time to the water splash, duck survived, so everything's awesome. Yeah, and so with that, looking forward to the next run round now. But yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. We're dialing the car in. First time out after a year. But yeah, no, it's coming.
Mike, great to see the Turquoise Warrior back out in action. How are you finding it after stage 3?
Well, it's really good. We're getting some good grip now. Yeah, hesitant start, bit slippy on the rally stage, but yeah, really good. Getting some power down now. So the car's behaving itself, which is what I wanted. So it's just the driver now. Got to sort myself out.
Thanks, Sam. Stage 4 then is about to get underway. James and Rhys Yates needing to claw back some time to overall leaders Kevin Proctor and Derek Fawcett. Continuing to lead the way in Class C, which we'll take a closer look at for this section, are Mark Roberts and Stephen Landon, who will end this stage 18 seconds ahead of 2nd place, 14th overall, despite a bit of traffic to navigate out on the stages. In 2nd place, exactly where they would finish at the end of the rally, are Stephen Beck and Gary Whittington, fending off a stern challenge from Rob Cox and Joe Graham. That pairing getting sideways here were within 3 seconds at this stage of the event, but lost time behind Kathy Seward and Colin Stevens at the water splash. Next up, Mike English and Andy Robinson, who we just heard from with Sam. Frustratingly for them, a maximum time during stage 7 would drop them back down the order to 10th position at the end of the day. Fifth at this stage were Chris McCallum and Stephen Clark in their Ford Escort, a position they would stay in until the end of the rally. And making up time after a self-confessed slow start were Ryan Connolly and Craig Scoffings, although Ryan didn't quite put it like that. The Puma duo needing to find some 30 seconds after stage 4 if they were to gain any further places. Seventh at this stage went to Chris Berry and Nigel Stevenson, beneficiaries of English and Robinson's late woes. They'd end the day 6th in Class C. And rounding out the top 8 in Class C at this stage were Richard Wells and Calvin Holdsworth in their Ford Fiesta R2T. They would also hold their position at the end of the day. Let's take a look at the standings after stage 4. Joe Cunningham extends that lead in Class A. 45 seconds the gap now. The top 3 unchanged, but fighting hard. Paul O'Neill is up to 3rd in Class B, onto the podium, and comfortable behind. Paul Stevenson and Tony Reid tied on times in 4th and 5th. Mark Roberts showing off how quickly he's got to grips with the newer Ford out in front of Class C by 18 seconds. Ryan Connolly back in 6th, but vowing to come to terms with some slow early stage times. It's still the drive of a champion for Chris West in D1, extending the margin and showing the rest of the leaderboard which way round to drive a car. Steve Simpson dropping down the order makes Class D2, and indeed the overall result looked pretty tasty if you're a Kev Proctor fan.
So guys, just heard you are 3rd in class. You came 2nd in class overall at this event last year, so you've got to be pleased with that so far.
Yeah, last year was last year, and as much fun as I'm having, this is serious for me, and even more so for Jack, because he gets fully involved and gets really angry if I mess up. So no, I'm really pleased personally, and we've overcome a few things, but no, the main man's keeping me on my toes, and I think we're going all right.
Yeah, good. What's it like from your side then, being back in the car? Because you've got to love getting back in the car, haven't you?
It's always entertaining being with Paul, that's for sure. There's never a dull moment. Yeah, we've had a really good morning actually. I think we were maybe a little bit tentative on the first stage, and we don't really know what happened really. We just struggled a little bit for some reason. It didn't feel slow in the car, but the times weren't great, so we just worked on it a little bit in the next stage, just went a little bit quicker, and then we put some new tyres on for the 3rd stage, and then we encountered the Berlin Wall on the 4th stage, which was an Escort, which might as well have been 15 feet wide, so that held us up a little bit. But apart from that, it's been all good, and yeah, I've just been keeping him on his toes and making sure he's listening, and he's not most of the time, but he's a touring car driver, so what can you do?
Welcome back. Rally luminary and MSA chairman David Richards made his first rally appearance for 10 years, and we caught up with him between stages.
So David, it's been a while since you've been out in a car, and to sit in with Graham, that must be a really good one. How are you finding it?
No, it's great to be able to find out how quick these cars are and sort of take part in an event like this. It's been an eye-opener. I think people think we sit in ivory towers and never come out and see what's going on, but I want to prove that different.
Mm-hmm. Good, well you are certainly proving that today, and I know that you're a big supporter of grassroots in motorsport, so as a championship in general, it's great that you've got involved with this round today.
No, I think that's, our role as the governing body is to promote motorsport, and Formula One can look after itself, touring cars, GT, they can all look after themselves. We've got to look after the interests of grassroots competitors. We've got to find ways to make it less bureaucratic, to get cheaper for them to enter, and we've just got to open it up to more people, and women as well.
Absolutely, and from that point of view, I think it is quite good. I mean, I compete myself regularly as well, but it's great that the likes of Kathy, she comes to do the championship every year, and there does seem to be more women getting involved now.
Well, it is a great sport that sort of you can compete on equal terms, and I've heard many people talk about that, and young lady Natalie McGowan, you might have come across her in the disabled motorsport. She said to me one day, she said, I put my helmet on and I'm no longer a women driver, I'm no longer disabled, I'm just a racing driver like everybody else. And that's great stuff. But events like today, it's good to see the cross-section of participants. It's all very well being in an expensive car like this, and I'm very lucky to be able to do that. But people to be able to turn up in older cars, I've seen a friend with a Cooper S, another one an old M3, lots of old Escorts. So it's all very encouraging. And I was just texting Jonathan Palmer, of course, who owns all the circuits in Britain. I said, come on, we've got to do more of these sort of things, Jonathan, during the winter months. We can't leave circuits dormant in the winter. Let's use them for rallies.
It's great to see world champion David back out and experiencing the MSN Rally Championship. He and the rest of the field will be taking on stage 5 and 6 next, which at just over 6.5 miles is one of the shortest of the day. It's been an impressive day for Class B leaders Ryan Burns and Steve Hallmark, who have the advantage at the top of the times as we head through stage 5. They keep things neat and tidy on the gravel, not always easy. Also driving well are Chris Woodhouse and Alan Gilbert in their Citroën C2, but they'll need to keep it up to fend off the charging Paul O'Neill and Jack Benyon, who are close behind and finding their rhythm on their home rally. Fourth at this stage belongs to Tony Reid and Helen Russell, who will finish Class B in that position at the end of the day in their Vauxhall Corsa. In fifth, meanwhile, are Richard and Adam Kay, going well in their Corsa. Unfortunately, though, they'd suffer an engine failure later on in the day, retiring from the first round of the series. Paul Steventon and Colette Walker run in 6th place after as many stages, but running strongly until the end of the day, they will come home 3rd in Class B. A strong result for the pairing at the first showing this season. Further back, in 7th place, lies Graham Marshall and Mark Dewey's Ford Fiesta. They'll press on until the end of the rally, finishing Class B in 5th place. And rounding out the top 8 at this stage are David Forrester and Ian Nichols in their Peugeot 205 GTI. They'll eventually end the day 6th in class. Continuing to lead the way out front are Kevin Proctor and Derek Fawcett, opening up at this stage a healthy lead over James and Rhys Yates in the Skoda. In Class C, it's Mark Roberts and Stephen Landon remaining the pair to beat in that Ford Fiesta. And Joe Cunningham and Mark Fowler now have a substantial lead in Class A, running a very impressive 16th overall in that Vauxhall Corsa. Defending champ Chris West with Robbie Hanna alongside for this round remain fastest in D1, but they can't relax at all as William and Cleon Owen continue to push behind. After 6 stages here at Oulton Park, Joe Cunningham and Mark Fowler remain well in charge in Class A. Driving superbly throughout the day, the pairing has not only opened up a 90-second lead in class, but they're mixing it in the top 20 overall, although nothing less than we'd expect from what we've seen so far over 4 seasons of the championship. In 2nd place, David McMullen and Mark Melhouche in their Vauxhall Nova. Sadly, they'd retire after the next stage with a broken driveshaft. And 3rd at this stage are Gethin Sharp and Kate Bann in their Nissan Micra. They'd have the measure of the car around this Oulton Park stage comfortably ahead of 4th. Adam Philpotts and Ryan Simpson, meanwhile, are next up in Class A. Also in a Nissan Micra, they'd end the day in an impressive 2nd position. It's an MG ZR for Dale and Andrew Lawson, running 5th after 6 stages, but a strong finish propels them into 2nd place in Class A. Andrew and Richard Chandler are next up in their Ford Escort. Running 6th at this point, they'll capitalise on retirements up ahead, finishing the day in 4th position. And it's another Micra running well in 7th place. Adam and Ray Ripper navigate the Oulton Park circuit. A good stage here will help them to 5th in class when all is said and done. And finishing 8th in Class A at the end of the day, earning themselves the Spirit of the Rally Award, were Sir Andrew McAlpine and Andy Bull in their distinctive and classic Morris Cooper S. Wrapping up the class leaders then is the usual suspects. Proctor and Fawcett in D2, West and Hanna in D1, Roberts and Landon in Class C, and Burns and Hallmark are leading the way in Class B. It's a decisive lead in Class A for Joe Cunningham and Mark Fowler in their Vauxhall Corsa. In Class B, though, the gap is much closer. Ryan Burns and Steve Hallmark's Vauxhall Corsa leading the Citroën C2 by 13 seconds. Mike Roberts and Stephen Landon have nearly half a minute's lead on the Ford Escort of Stephen Beck and Gary Whittington, whilst the gap is only 14 seconds behind second-placed Will Owen and Cleon Owen from erstwhile leaders Chris West and Robbie Hanna. In the D2 class, Kevin Proctor continues to lead, despite the chasing Yates brothers putting pressure on that Ford Fiesta WRC up front. Stages 7 and 8 take place over 7.69 miles. The quickest cars will be aiming for a time just under 7 minutes. With the night beginning to fall, the failing light will add an extra challenge for the drivers. The cars then line up for the start of Stage 7. Kev Proctor first out of the blocks. The Yates Skoda R5 is the car to watch, however, setting the fastest time of the stage, clearly on a charge. BRC runner-up Alex Laffey and Michael Gilby next up as they go second fastest in the Fiesta. Chris West went fourth fastest overall in a superb performance in this D1 class Peugeot, finishing just behind Laffey and Gilby. Touring car ace Paul O'Neill with Jack Benyon alongside was fastest by 6 seconds in Class B. And John Stone and Jack Morton were fourth fastest, despite getting stuck behind Peter Smith and Sean Cunniff on the gravel section. Mark Roberts and Stephen Landon extended their Class C lead by 14 seconds on this stage, asserting their dominance over their rivals in the class. Meanwhile, Ryan Burns and Steve Hallmark continued their run of good form to lead Class B, despite the Citroën C2 of Chris Woodhouse and Alan Gilbert going fastest in the stage, giving them a good run for their money. In Class A, it's a mighty effort from Gettin Sharp and Kate Bann, who take the lead after Joe Cunningham and Mark Fowler frustratingly retire with an electrical problem on the car. As the cars finished Stage 7, we caught up with the leaders as they crossed the finish line.
Kev, current rally leader, how was Stage 7?
Yeah, good. It's starting to get dark now, so lights on for the next one, I think. But no, still good. Good fun.
Good, well, keep it going.
Yeah, an old man that's got a sweat on.
Oh, it's nice and warm in here. How was that one?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, I'm trying to get used to it. It's different, a lot different, but you know, I came here to treat it as a bit of a learning curve, and we're not doing too bad. I mean, we're struggling with the four-wheel drives because of the gravel. They're just so committed and got so much grip through there. That's where we're losing so much time. So.
Afternoon. How are you finding it out there?
It's good now. We've changed tyres, so it's working a lot better. Good. But it's we're tinkering with the car, so we're having some fun.
You're saying it was a little bit slippy this morning. I mean, I know it's always slippy on the rally school bit, but
we went on softs this morning and it felt all right. But then when we went to mediums, not good.
Right.
Yeah, it was a bit dangerous.
Right.
Yeah. It's fun.
Enjoying it though?
Yeah, it's really good fun, really good event.
How are you finding it out there this afternoon?
It's really good actually, yeah. We kind of up against it with the R5s and WRC cars, but we're kind of the best of the rest, so if we can make an indent into the top 10, I'll be happy with that.
Mike, that is not a sight that we wanted to see as you drove past us coming back into service.
Me neither, no. We were really pushing on that stage and it was going so well. We came across the back there, off the dirt onto the circuit, and we were just leaning on it, and it just caught, story of my life, that I did that at Cadwell, just caught the grass, whoosh, off it goes, and it shot across the circuit, and I thought we were going to have it. It was just spinning around and it just clipped the arm coat. When I say clipped, yeah.
That's
the
a fair
the car's
clip.
fine, everything else is fine, so we're just going to pull that out and get going, but we've obviously ruined that stage.
And that's the thing, I mean, these cars are brilliant fun, but once that back end goes...
Once it goes, yeah. So it just sent it straight across the circuit, and then as it spun round, it just banged into the arm coat. I thought we were going to get away with it, but
yeah.
Onwards.
On to stage 8 now. As you can see, the light is dropping a little bit. The cars have their lights on. We are good to go. Changing in temperature as well. It might get a little bit slippy out there. Paul, what's going on?
Thanks, Sam. We join Mike Taylor and Martin Haggett now on board for the start of stage 8. The pair having a fantastic run this weekend, but it's Kevin Proctor who leads overall with a 10-second gap over the Yates Skoda in second. As night falls on the stages, the drivers are really tested, especially on the dark gravel section at the back of the Oulton Park circuit. Ryan Connolly and Craig Scoffings continue their recovery drive. They're not slowed by the fading light though as they navigate the chicane. Let's join them for some onboard action inside that wide-arch Puma. Chris West slides back onto the circuit, then leading the way in Class D1. Light really at a premium now. Competitors utilising all of their headlight power and of course having eaten carrots the night before to see their way on the stage. Night rallying, an unusual phenomenon these days. Paul O'Neill and Jack Benyon have been having a great run so far in Class B, but as they exit the gravel part of the stage, the car has to pull over with a loss of power. They retire from the rally. No sideways, onto the main straight for Paul O'Neill. Ryan Burns and Steve Hallmark continued their impressive day behind the wheel of their Class B Vauxhall Corsa. They lead by just 11 seconds from nearest rivals Chris Woodhouse and Alan Gilbert as they navigate the final turn to end the stage. Ryan Connolly has clearly been enjoying himself today on a charge, but the star of the stage is the Yates Skoda, which follows Coffey home and takes a huge chunk of time out of Proctor's lead. With nighttime setting in, for many, it's a case of nursing their cars home, not making any errors, and ensuring that they reach the finish of the rally. After finishing the stage in 7 minutes 36 seconds, let's join Sam, who's caught up with Mike Taylor.
So, Going really, really well for you today. A little birdie says that it is the best result you've had so far here.
Absolutely. We're up to 12th overall now, so 16th is our best ever before. We're 9 seconds ahead of Tom Blackwood in the next garage, so as long as I keep don't lose 9 seconds on the last stage, then fantastic, we'll be 12th overall, unless somebody else drops out further up. The guys behind are too far behind to catch, I think, apart from Tom, and going forwards I'm not going to catch the 2 guys in front, so it looks like it's going to be 3rd in class and 12th if we can keep Tom from catching us on the last stage. It's only 1 lap, so fingers crossed.
The final stage of the day then, the closest to a racing lap of the circuit that we've seen among the stages today. A true test of speed and nerve. A short sprint to the finish of a long day of competition. Kev Proctor leads the cars off the line for the final stage of the day then. He has a 9-second advantage to start this 1-lap sprint to the stop boards, and despite a slight misjudgment at the final turn, has a clean run. We join Graham Coffey and Dave Richards on board now as they finish their day. You can see just how dark it is out there when the only source of light comes from the car. They'll finish 6th in class, 7th overall. Chris West giving it his everything in that Peugeot 306, more suited to the tarmac and perhaps at this first round defending the championship and knowing that not all of these guys will continue in the series. It's just about getting as many points on the board as possible. Mark Roberts also having a great run in that Class C, winning Ford Fiesta despite this moment at the last corner. As the final cars cross the line, let's join Sam, who's with the top 3 overall finishers.
Third overall, how has it been out there?
Yeah, it's been good fun. That's what we came here for. It's a local event for me. We came to have some fun and we achieved that. It's been a good day. A few dramas here and there, but nice and clean, and we're here at the end.
Well, it can't have been too big of a drama because you've still finished 3rd overall. It's good from your side?
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. He's driven really, really well. Typically, he did clip a barrel, but it was on my side. It's always the navigator's side, isn't it? But he's driven well enough to compensate for it.
Pretty sure that was your fault.
It's always the navigator's fault.
Always. Well, massive congratulations, guys. It was really nice to have you along, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Well, guys, massive congratulations. You held them off. You kept 2nd. How's it been?
Really good day. Yeah, challenging this morning, but then a good laugh this afternoon, and really fun day. Yeah, really good.
Good. Well, you're both still smiling, so there clearly hasn't been any arguments inside the car.
No, we haven't been arguing. No, he's done really good. I mean, he's never even driven the car since we did a 20k test, so yeah, he's done mega. He's done really, really good. And at the start of the day, I was shouting at him, and at the end of the day, I was quiet. So he shut me up anyway. He shut me up in his ear. So yeah, all good.
Well, so there was no pencil in the leg needed or anything?
Yeah, I got a pencil.
I were on the pen scene, but no pencils, no rubbers, nothing in the side of him. But yeah, it's been a good day, really good.
Good. Guys, a fantastic result today, making me a little bit nervous.
No, you don't
Stood this close, but yeah, massive congratulations, really great.
No, great. Sorry, I was just no, we've had a great day, to be fair. We've had a bit of panic towards the end when young Yates, he took 7 seconds out of us on the third to last stage, and we thought, but we had to push hard. And to be fair, I'm glad we've got to the end, and I'm glad we've finished where we have. But credit to these 2 lads who drove really well today.
You held them off, you kept it going.
I think the young ones showed us how to do it today, to be honest.
The 2 old men, but we had a great day. Been brilliant.
Good. Well, massive congratulations. Thank you.
Getting Sharp and Katie Ban take the Class A victory then. A huge lead stretched out by the end of the rally. Dale and Andrew Lawson taking second ahead of Adam Philpotts and Ryan Simpson. In Class B, it's Ryan Burns and Steve Hallmark signalling their intent on the class title at the first round. A close finish with second place Chris Woodhouse and Alan Gilbert. Mark Roberts led from start to finish in Class C. Swapping the Escort for the Fiesta may just have been the right move after all, although we'll miss seeing that beautiful Escort WRC out on the stages, of course. Kathy Stewart doing what she needed to haul the Sunbeam into 7th. The Ducks still intact on the front bumper. D1 is dominated by last year's champion. Over 2 minutes the advantage at the end of the rally. A strong showing for both Stephen and Jack Tilburn, and Mike Taylor and Martin Haggett to finish on the podium. Kev Proctor leads from James Yates and Alex Laffey in D2, reflecting the overall rally results. John Griffiths pleased with that result in 8th among the WRCs and R5s. So Kev Proctor makes it win number 3 here at Oulton Park, though we're still yet to see he and Derek Fawcett make that result stick at any further rounds of the series. Join us for round 2 next time for the North Humberside Motor Club stages at Cadwell Park in the Lincolnshire Wolds.